Hey guys, this is your Survivor Series preview edition of the Wrestling Informer. There is no news here. So before somebody goes in and puts the minutes for this and the minutes for that, there is no news here. I'm doing a preview. I'm joined by my son, Austin. Say hello, Austin.
Hello. Hello.
He's replacing Cav this week to preview the Survivor Series. So what we did and what we often do before like a major pay-per-view is we go back and look at a little bit of history. So that's what we did, wasn't it? We looked back at a little bit of Survivor Series history so you could see what's happened at this event before. So we started with the 1990 Survivor Series. Before I start, I want to just touch on something with you. You do this thing with wrestling where don't do that with a screen.
Okay.
Yeah, you move the phone across the screen.
Yeah, I know.
You do this thing with wrestling where you watch it like week after week, and then you do these things where you have these periods where you stop, and then you start watching it on YouTube, and you start watching that 45-minute highlight show instead. Why do you do that? Is that because you just get busy with things, or you start getting into a computer game, or is it something to do with the wrestling?
It's not anything to do with that. It's entirely something to do with the wrestling. I'm really more interested when I'm either going to the show because it excites me more because I get to go to it, obviously. And also when the big characters are on there, like Logan Paul, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, it excites me more to watch it. And when they're not really there or they're not really in the big pay-per-views, it doesn't really excite me as much.
So you watch more for the big pay-per-views, and then you're more interested on the shows where you know Logan's got a match or Brock Lesnar's got to have a match on it, so you know it's bigger, so you have to watch.
Yeah, entirely.
Is that the only thing, or?
No, there's just some things that WWE do sometimes. Like, I was really enjoying that promo with Ray and Dominic and Edge in the club. So I really enjoyed it, and then they just stopped it. They removed Edge from WWE. They not removed him, but he just was stopped being on TV, and Rey Mysterio has now gone to SmackDown.
Yeah, but they'll come back to that, won't they? They will come back to it
around WrestleMania season.
So do you think it's like they're almost telling you can watch now if you're like a really strong fan, like if you're really like a super fan, but actually if you've got other things to do, don't watch right now because we're saving all the best stories, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say here.
So that's how you feel. You feel they're telling you it's not an important time, so that's why you watch like less, or you watch it on YouTube and just catch up with it.
Yeah.
But you always know what's going on, pretty much, don't you?
Yeah,
I
watch YouTube. I watch the top 10 YouTubes, like a 5-minute video when it's exciting, and the highlight show every week.
But you do, for a kid, you do have a lot going on though. You do play tennis, you do karate, you play football. You like to play on PlayStation. You're doing that. What's that thing you do with the where you buy the players and collect the coins and all that on FIFA?
Ultimate Team.
Ultimate Team, yeah. All right, so we look back at some of the Survivor Series. First thing that we watched, that I made you watch, was 1990 Survivor Series, which was because The Undertaker debuts. Now, obviously, this is iconic because he goes on to be a massive legend. He has a 30-year career at this point. What do you think of him at this point? Do you see, when you see that debut, would you think he's going to be a big star from this point? Obviously, not someone that can last 30 years, but where would you see him like in the company just from like the way he debuted in that match, that 4-on-4?
I wouldn't really be able to tell from the time if he was going to reach the top, but he did look very good. Just by looking at him, he looked like a strong, tall character, and he did easily eliminate people in that Survivor Series match. And the only way he did lose was the double count out with Cody Rhodes' dad, Dusty. Yeah. So he did look like he would go and beat Dusty in his first promo, and then he could go on to fight Hogan and Warrior and people like that. But at the time, I would have said he could have been quite big, but not as big as he was.
He did fight Hogan the next year, which was one of the things that we watched. What did you think about him becoming a champion a year later, and he beat Hulk Hogan? What was your big takeaway from that?
I thought from that time he would be quite big, like as big as like Cena is currently or was, and The Rock. I think he would be like that.
Where you said, what was the one thing you said to me was that you were surprised at the reaction when we watched it, when we watched the crowd reaction.
Yeah, the crowd back then were crazy. They cheered on all the bad guys. They were absolutely crazy. They loved Undertaker.
Yeah, well, they were just more into it then. I think they knew less about what was going on that Survivor Series when we watched it. It wasn't actually on the Survivor Series, but that was the first time that I saw the clip where Randy Macho Man Savage gets bitten by Jake the Snake. I always remember that, and like that was actually even shocking for you. Even like now, kids obviously see a lot more. That was like you really were shocked by that. I remember when we watched that back, like you couldn't believe that.
Yeah, for WWE, that's quite graphic. Of how like he was bleeding and everything, and the snake was going right in there for ages, and especially when Elizabeth came out, she was screaming her bloody head off. It was very graphic. I couldn't
And the
believe
kid and their little kid crying. They show that
Yeah,
kid.
the little kid in the crowd was like bawling his eyes out.
Yeah.
While I was watching,
So
it was gross.
the next moment I picked out that we watched was, and these are what I perceive to be the biggest moments from watching back then. Sid beat Shawn Michaels for the WWF title at Madison Square Garden. Good guy versus good guy, but not by the end.
Yeah, I found it quite shocking that Psycho Sid just went from good guy to bad guy in one night. I really love it when that happens. It really surprises me and shocks me. It's happened many times before, but this was one of my favorites. As firstly, he did it to Shawn Michaels' dad. He smashed him in the face with the camera.
Not his dad. It wasn't his dad, but yeah, it was his
Manager, sorry.
Yeah.
That really did shock me. I really enjoyed it.
But what was it? So the one thing that you picked up on and you said to me was the crowd. Yeah.
Yeah, the crowd absolutely loved the bad guys, and they were booing Shawn Michaels, and they were just absolutely loving Sid. But there was this one girl who was like loving Shawn Michaels, and when Sid won, she went like,
yeah, you see her in the top corner, because I think that's what you said to me, and that's like my big takeaway from it, because I've always said to you that Cena and Roman, and this is what I honestly, from being a kid, I didn't even remember this stuff. Like it didn't register with me. But like I always thought that Cena and Roman were like the first good guys that WWE pushed that got booed, that weren't 100% accepted. But when we watch this back, they cheer Undertaker winning.
yeah.
And they cheer Sid turning into like a proper bad guy. Because what Sid did was like a proper horrible thing. Like he hits an old man with a camera and then he wins the title and they just proper cheer for him at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, I found this quite crazy. I thought Cena and Roman were the only ones, but I guess I've learned something new.
So did I. Like even at your age, I watched it at your age when I was slightly younger than you when Undertaker won, so I didn't notice it at all. Sid, I did a bit more because I didn't really like Shawn Michaels. I didn't like the dancing and everything. Like when I was a teenager, I thought Shawn Michaels was kind of like with all the like the dancing and everything that was going on. So I wasn't really into that kind of good guy. Always preferred Bret Hart.
The crowd thought he was the Bret Hart bit.
Sorry?
The crowd certainly thought he was the Bret Hart.
Well, that's the next thing. Like, so we watched the Survivor Series, the Montreal Screwjob, but you actually noticed other things when you were watching that back. So it wasn't just obviously the Screwjob, which we all know about. What did you notice, like about the crowd and things like that?
The crowd, that could never ever happen these days. The commentators were apologizing and everything. There was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of signs up saying Shawn Michaels is weird. Shawn Michaels it was crazy. Honestly, I couldn't believe it. Shocking.
Yeah, that's a different time. But yeah, and then he comes out and he humps the Canadian flag. What did you think just before that match about the build-up video? So when they sort of familiarized you with Bret and Shawn's history, like that's something that we don't have in wrestling now, where these guys actually did hate each other. Like it was a good video, but what you probably don't know is that they really did hate each other. Like we don't have that now. Like what did you think about that?
Yeah,
Did that get you?
I thought that was quite crazy when you told me, because nowadays all the WWE colleagues, they all have good relationships together, most of them, and that's
Yeah,
quite
we.
to know that they literally really hate each other.
So, what were your thoughts on the ending, the finish, the sharpshooter?
I didn't really think that looked very good, because Brett didn't actually tap out. But when you told me that Vince McMahon told the refs to ring the bell, I completely understood it.
Yeah. So obviously this is way before you were born, but back then they used to have like these phone numbers that you used to call, and they used to cost like £2 a minute to call them up, and they would be like these insiders that would tell you stuff about wrestling, and like I had called him up so much that I was like banned from like calling him from my house. So I went into my dad's room and got his phone and called one of the hotlines from a mobile. And at the time, like mobile phone calls were like double, and mobile phones were like this big at the time. They didn't
Yeah,
do
my mum told
anything.
me they were like the size of a brick.
Yeah, they didn't do anything. But like because I was already banned from calling up these like hotlines too much. I then used my dad's mobile. So I had to know what the hell was that. I just watched because it didn't look right, did it? It didn't look like it was what was supposed to happen.
No, no, it looked weird.
So I don't know if you know, but there's a documentary called Wrestling with Shadows that you should watch. We'll watch that one day. But yeah, afterwards he spat in Vince's eye. I don't. Yeah, that was actually on TV.
Yeah,
Then
I saw.
he smashed up all the WWF, WWE, WWF equipment, and then he punched Vince McMahon in real life backstage before he left for WCW. Do you understand why they did that ending? Did that make sense to you?
Yeah, yeah, entirely.
Because he didn't want to lose to Shawn in Canada, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The last thing we watched, and the only thing you were alive for, and you probably remember it because you remember it at the time because you actually went to WrestleMania a few months after this. It was Goldberg and Brock Lesnar. Goldberg beats Brock in under a minute. In under 2 minutes. What did you think?
Oh, this is my favorite because it's obviously the most recent, and I was alive for it. I watched it live, and I thought the crowd in that thing. My dad told me that Brock Lesnar was meant to win, but the crowd were going so crazy that they just let Goldberg win and save the rematch for WrestleMania.
Yeah, you mean it, they were going crazy in the weeks before,
Yeah.
and so the inside story is that Brock Lesnar was supposed to do WrestleMania against Shane McMahon, and he didn't want to do that match. So everything that you saw, Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman came up with it. So Goldberg was on the WWE game, and he was meant to lose. Just come in, like, advertise the game, do a match with Brock Lesnar. And then Brock said, I want to do like 2 matches with him. He should beat me because he's really popular. So that's what Brock did. And also, he didn't want to have a match with Shane McMahon. So that was why that happened. That wasn't supposed to happen until about a week before, or even like a few days before. That was all Brock's idea to do that, to lose like that.
Yeah. It was fast. That was the start of that whole thing where it was Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. These kind of people have like quick, cool, fast matches. It happened again at WrestleMania where obviously Brock won. But
Yeah, you enjoyed that match. That was actually that's a really like underrated match, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got to be in my top 10 of all time.
Okay, so let's move on to War Games and the Survivor Series. So we have the men's match, and it's the Bloodline going up against the Brawling Brutes, Drew McIntyre and Kevin Owens.
And Sheamus.
Your Sheamus is Brawling Brutes. That's what the 3 of them are called. So what do you think of these teams? Do you think these are even teams, or do you feel that they should have made the good guys stronger?
Okay, so here I feel, I'm just going to say first, I think Kevin Owens' team is going to win because I think they're leading up to a little like Royal Rumble match between Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns.
Okay.
Or what's the next pay-per-view? TLC, right?
No, they're going straight to Rumble. There's no December pay-per-view. There's no day one either.
Okay. So they could do that, but first, I think they're going to win to the lead up to that. But I think they should have made the team a bit stronger. So instead of like maybe Brawling Brutes, they could have had Braun Strowman and a couple of others like good faces. So, but
I agree. There's a lot of people missing the pay-per-view that I think would make the team stronger. Matt Riddle's not on it. Braun Strowman's not on it. I mean, they even could have done something where Karrion Kross like joined the team somehow. Like even though he's a bad guy. Rollins has a match, obviously, but he could have. Yeah, he also could have been on the team. Who do you think wins it? Oh, you've already said you think that the Bloodline actually lose here.
Yeah, I do. Because it won't go to Roman's championship. There's no championships on the line here. So I do think they'll win. And I do think it will lead up to a Rumble match where Roman will obviously beat Kevin Owens, leading up to Roman Rock.
I think that because this Bloodline have been so strong, I just think that they'll find a way to make them win again without hurting anybody else on the team. Like, I don't think Drew will lose or Sheamus will lose or Owens will lose. Owens and Sheamus are two people that can fight Reigns still. So I think when you've got Pete Dunne there, Butch and Ridge Holland, I think somebody like that could get choked out by Roman and it's an easy out. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Because I think that the good guys are going to win the women's match. So we'll talk about the women's match. And that's Damage Control, Nikki Cross, and Rhea Ripley against Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, Asuka, Mia Yim, and a mystery partner that I think could be Becky Lynch. So I feel that team will win.
I think possibly, honestly, I think it could be Sasha Banks. Because we haven't seen her in a while, and I think she could just return.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not hearing that she will, but like, if that would be good if she was, especially in Boston where she's from.
Yeah, that's what I think because it's in Boston and everything. But
so do you think that team win if it's Becky or Sasha?
Yeah, because of the mystery opponent. If it's Becky or Sasha, I think they'll win. If it's not, I think I'm going to go with the bad guys.
Okay, yeah, because I do think eventually they'll get to Rhea Ripley and Bianca. They've been like teasing that on TV.
Yeah, maybe Rumble.
Yeah. So we have a triple threat match. Austin Theory failed to cash in his Money in the Bank. He tried to cash in on Seth Rollins for the US title and Bobby Lashley ruined it for him and Rollins won. So now he's like all angry and he's like a serious Austin Theory. And he's challenging Seth Rollins and Bobby Lashley. It's a triple threat match. So who do you think wins this one?
Honestly, I am going to go with Austin Theory here. He looks like a much stronger, more serious character. And Seth Rollins is a bit of a mess around at the moment. Bobby Lashley, I think he's going to go for Seth Rollins. I think they're going to be fighting. I think Austin Theory is going to steal this match.
Yeah, he needs something because since Vince McMahon left, Triple H hasn't really done anything with him. And it looks like Austin Theory was a Vince thing. And now Vince left, like Triple H is saying, well, that's not my guy. So just, let's take everything off him, Money in the Bank and everything. So yeah, it's not great, but I think he's actually being wasted because I actually think that he looks good and he talks well. And this is someone that can be a top star, but
yeah, he could be a top bad guy 100%.
What else do we have here? So I don't know if Bray Wyatt and LA Knight is going to actually be a match. We'll find out on SmackDown if that's actually going to end up being a match or not. But we have Finn Balor one-on-one with AJ Styles. This is a match that you've wanted to see for a while.
Yeah. I saw it at TLC a few years ago, but this one's more hyped up. It's not the Demon or anything, but it is a big, big match. This is one of my personal favourite matches of the show because I love watching Styles and Finn Balor. They always used to be my two favourites. And to see them collide at my age now, 5 years later, it's quite cool for me. But I am going to go with Styles here because on Raw, they have been losing. And I do think they'll hit back here and beat Finn Balor.
Yeah, I disagree with you again. I just think that AJ and the club, they're just here to sort of be people to lose to until Edge and Mysterio get back. And like as you said, that everything just feels like it's not. Some stuff feels like it's not as important as what's coming, which is why sort of you're not watching as much and you're sort of catching up on YouTube and things like that. We have a match here between Dexter Lumis and The Miz, and if Dexter wins, he gets a job. Like this, I think this one's quite easy to call.
Yeah, Dexter all day.
Yeah, so I can't actually think what other matches are on the are on this Survivor Series. I think that's it. I think there's one more match. Let me just see. Hold on a second. I might disappear for a second.
Yeah.
Have I disappeared?
Yeah.
But you can still hear me.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm just checking. I think there was one more match announced. It's War Game. Well, yeah. It's not even worth talking about. Ronda Rousey versus Shotzi for the title.
Well, it's an obvious choice here. Obviously it's going to be Ronda Rousey. Shotzi, let's just be honest here. She's not going to win. Obviously, she's not a very strong character. She's not very big. Liv Morgan was acceptable because she won Money in the Bank, but there's no chance for Shotzi here.
Yeah, it's always difficult, like when you put people against Ronda, because Ronda's so much of a bigger star than everybody else. Other than Becky or Charlotte, or maybe Bianca, there isn't anybody on that level. They need to actually create people that are credible. I think if she faces Raquel Gonzalez, might be maybe next, that might look like a proper challenger. But yeah. I think it's a bit of a stretch to try and get Shotzi in here and have us like believe that she has a chance. I thought Liv, because of the way she lost, they might have been able to get one more last rematch out of that, but they've moved on to this. So yeah. So that's it. That's everything. So yeah, that's our preview. I'm gonna let you go and go to bed because we need to get up early in the morning so we can catch our flight because we need to get to Boston tomorrow.
Yep. Quite excited for it.
Wait, so you know about this?
Wait, really? No. Are you joking?
No.
Nah, I thought it was part of an act. No way. You're joking.
What, you thought I was just saying it for camera to pretend that we're going?
Yeah. No
Ask
way.
your mum.
Mum? Am I going to Boston tomorrow? Ah! Oh my god, that's crazy. Thank you. No way. Oh my god.
So this is what I was saying to you to try and get you to watch the whole shows. So like you said, I watch it when I'm going. But yeah, so the reason you're going is because we played less football this month so that you could close the door again because the dog will come in.
Yeah, Mum's closed the front door then.
She's closed the door for the dogs. Yeah, so basically, this month, your main things you needed to do were you had that tennis tournament at school and you were going for your red belt at karate. And I said, like, just concentrate on these things only. And what was your grading score on the red belt grade?
I got an A and I won the tennis tournament.
Yeah, so that's why you're getting this. This isn't just like, oh, let's just go to Boston because, like, I don't want you people to think you're spoiled. But yeah, I wanted to do something for it. It was lucky though because I obviously booked this before, and I thought you were going to pass because you were taking it seriously. So obviously, it would have been very strange if you'd got like a C pass or a B pass or anything like that because there's levels of passes on these karate belts, isn't there?
Yeah, so there's B plus, there's B, there's A, there's C, and there's C plus. So I was aiming for a B plus at the worst and an A at the best.
Yeah, so you're going because of the A pass. I actually got this after the tennis because the last time you played with like Jared. So like I thought you deserved to like get something, but I didn't want to buy you more crap because like basically we have too much crap and also because you spend too much time on the computer already. So I didn't want to like get games or anything like that. But yeah, it's what?
I just can't believe it.
Yeah, so we have to leave in the morning.
We have to get some Prime there.
Is that all you're thinking about?
No, I'm just saying.
So Austin likes to buy this drink because he knows it's worth. He likes to go to Asda to buy it, and he knows because he sees it online for £10 to £15 a bottle, and he likes to buy loads of this drink, and then doesn't like the taste of the drink.
It's like the blue raspberries. Nice.
What about all the other flavors that you're storing in the fridge?
I like the red one. I just don't like the ice pop one. It's too sour and sweet.
Have you actually been able to like selling your bottles at school? Like you keep telling me you want to keep buying it. So
people have been going 10, 15, 20. There's been a 120 for like a Meta Moon, but I don't have that. That's the new flavor.
So basically,
going crazy about it. I brought it into school today, and I was just drinking it. People were begging me all day, 6 hours straight. Can I sky? Can I sky? Can I sky? It literally is crazy how hyped up this drink is.
So yeah, so going to like Boston, actually going to Boston tomorrow could be like a business trip.
Possibly.
So we're leaving in the morning. Your mum's taking us to the airport. And then this is the crazy one. This is part of the deal. We're leaving Boston on Sunday. We land back in the UK at 7, and you have to go to school on Monday as soon as we land, because there's no way that you can miss 2 days.
Yeah.
So that's obviously part of the deal. So no like moaning about being tired or anything like that. You know you have to sleep on the plane on Sunday night.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, so you want to go to bed now?
7 a.m.
Yeah. We'll land at 7 a.m. We'll have no baggage because we're just going with like backpacks, so we're just going for 2 days.
Yeah.
And yeah, because there's no point. Because remember, we had to pay for every single bag now when we go to the US.
It's 200. It's absolutely insane. 3 bags, 200. Insane.
Yeah, we got no bags. So yeah, I've just I'm going to do the backpacks now, and you go to bed, and I'll see you in the morning.
All right, bye. Thank you.
All right.
See you. Night.
I'm going to wrap up. So yeah, so that's your Survivor Series preview. You can follow me at lockbetting on Twitter. Sorry, at lockbetting.com. My website is lockbetting.com. That is my pay service that has delivered 113 months in a row of transparent track profit. Sign up now in time for the World Cup. I don't have a wrestling Twitter at the moment, but I will have one soon because Elon Musk is running things, and I'm a lot less likely to be banned for saying what I think. Cav will be back with me on the next episode, which would be probably in a couple of weeks' time, unless something dramatic happens at Survivor Series that we want to talk about, or we have any news that we need to discuss immediately off the bat. But until then, thanks for watching.